Hi, let us understand about authentication, authorization, and role-based access control, that is RBAC. Till now, we were using the vault using the root token, and root token is going to have all permissions so that we can access all the features and do the demo. But in production world, we need to provide different type of access to different type of users, and we may end up using different type of authentication. So before getting into the demo, it's better to understand the concept of authentication, authorization, and role-based access control, and how we are going to leverage this concept within HashiCorp Vault. Already we had discussed HashiCorp Vault can be accessed by three different ways, that is either using UI, command line interface, or API. Most of the time we will be using the API through client libraries or some other tools or some third-party software or systems. Whenever I am going to use the API, that access to the API needs to be protected, either the authentication or who can access what type of data or what data within the vault. And the process of allowing any specific user, whether that user can be allowed to access that resource or any secret, is called authentication. And authentication done by the HashiCorp Vault itself. In that case, it's going to store the credentials within the system. And I can leverage third-party authentication system like any other LDAP services or cloud-based authentication or any other third-party authentication, where HashiCorp Vault will be leveraging the third-party authentication and allow the user to get into the HashiCorp Vault. And allowing the user is the process of authentication. And after the user is allowed, what resources and what type of access the user can have against the resource. Say for example, some user may have permission to create new secrets, and some user will have access only to read the secrets that are available in any specific path, and some user may have permissions to update the secrets and not delete. These type of permissions we are going to provide using the authorization. And that's where policy comes into picture. I can provide different type of authorization to different users, and that's going to be two-side mapping, where any change to the authorization I'll end up making the change to the policies or to any specific user. That's where role-based access control comes into picture. Let's understand the entire flow of how the authentication and authorization comes into picture, and we will have some detailed discussion about role-based access control. Then we will be having detailed discussion on different type of authentication methods and different type of tokens and how to set the policies and do the policy mapping between the tokens and the users. Say for example, some user wanted to access the HashiCorp Vault. What they will be doing, they will access the HashiCorp Vault and provide the credential information. Once the credential is provided, the HashiCorp Vault will be connecting to the authentication system that is already configured. And how this particular configuration will be done, we can see in detail when we are doing the configuration of different authentication system. The credentials provided by the user will be provided to the authentication system, and authentication system will verify and give confirmation whether the user is authentic user or not based on the credentials. Once the user is authenticated, Vault is going to create a token and attach a policy to it. What that means? Every policy will have predefined rules like what are all the permissions they are going to have. And once the policy is attached to the token will be provided to the user, and the user can use that specific token in the future. So this is the high level flow of how the authentication and authorization happens within HashiCorp Vault. And we need to have detailed understanding on how the role-based access control plays a role within this particular flow. This we will be seeing it in the next lecture.